Alright guys, welcome back to the Regal Gentleman Studio, and today we've got Ollie in the chair. How you doing, mate?
I'm good, thank you.
Good, I'm very well, thanks, very well. A bit hot, but I'm alright, I'm not doing too bad. What are we doing today, mate? What's the plan?
So, this is grown out from a taper, I think, kind of undercut taper kind of haircut. I think it was around January.
Okay.
I'm kind of liking it, but it's got a bit too much, I think.
Okay.
I've got a few photos. If I show you, that might be easier.
Yeah.
So that...
I knew this guy. I said to myself, I knew it would be this guy. He's like the head of curly hair and he's like the face of it.
I'm kind of, something like that. I kind of like the width on the front.
Yeah.
But here, you see, it kind of needs cutting into shape, really, more than anything.
Well, that's what happens when tapers get cut into such heavy hair. They grow out in almost like a roof, almost, because there's no support here, so everything just lies flat. So you lose your curls, you lose... Like, that's structured here.
Yes.
That's got nothing going on. So,
exactly.
Again, there's probably a perfect example for anyone who does get tapers with longer hair, is that you end up losing that support underneath, so then you lose your curl.
Yes, and that's exactly...
You see what I mean? So you've got like two different things going on. You've got like a lovely S curl here, and then a C curl just at the top. So but again, a lot of the time it's because you've got like a big undercut going on. That's a lot of the time why these things happen, because you have loads of weight that just drags them out, just drags your curl out.
Yeah.
So it's a very different shape though. So EL's is square.
That is my only thing. So that, I don't know if that's more of my...
I think you're gonna have to get it longer than that.
Yes, I did think that.
Because you've got a taper. He won't have a taper in that. That's just cut into a very round shape. Okay. So a lot shorter at the top, a bit more length through here. The problem with that is because you've got no support underneath, it's never going to sit like that for... Well, it will. You could put a lot of product in it and kind of tame it into that. But cutting it into that, you're probably best growing it longer and then getting it cut into that shape. Yes, okay. But if you're still liking that look, you can still sort of do a shorter version of that if you want to, because EL's is quite short. From what I see on his Instagram, it's quite short. So
maybe not as short as that.
Yeah.
But kind of along that line. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I don't know if I'm...
No, it does.
It seems to have grown out very unevenly, I think. I mean, it was a taper and it was heavy, so maybe it is just that. But
yeah, I mean, how short was the taper? You're talking skin?
Yeah.
When did you get a cut?
January.
That's about 6 months growth.
Yeah, so yeah.
It's just because it's curling up, that's why. It's kind of disguising it a little bit. So the thing with tapers, right, is if I just show you something. So if I just comb out here, right, they're one of the hardest haircuts to grow out, right? Yeah. Because there's such an imbalance of length and weight. Okay. So, and they look great when they're done. They're one of the most satisfying haircuts to do and to look at when they are done. But when you're trying to change your mind on them, they're a nightmare, right? If I spin you round, sorry, Liam. If I spin you around, I want you to hold that mirror up for me so you can see yourself in the mirror behind, okay? So look through there, yeah? Can you see the sides of your head there? Can you see here, yeah? Yeah. So if I pull this out the way, look how much of your sides are gone from your taper. All that. Now, all I've got is that triangle to play with. Yeah,
nothing.
That's why...
I see what you mean.
Do you see what I mean? Yes, so when we're cutting the sides in, because again, unless you were going for a soft mullet, whether you're going back for a taper, when you're not going for either of those haircuts, taper is a nightmare to change because we only end up with a triangle of hair that wide. Now, if you look how high the taper's gone, it's gone up to about sort of this point here, right? So I've only got that much hair before it becomes the top of the head.
No, it makes sense.
Do you get what I mean?
I completely get what
you mean. So you'll end up going something about that length through the back and sides. I just want you to see that's how much you'll lose off the sides and the back. Because the back's got a lot more length in it.
Yeah, that's not... Yeah, I mean, with regards
and then when it's wet, it shrinks.
Yes, and that's what... Yeah.
Yeah. I just want you to be aware of that. I'm not trying to put you off. Yeah. I'm just trying to be realistic about what can be done.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
I understand what you mean.
I think you've kind of got like two realistic options right in this present moment, right? Before we think of something else. You can either grow it longer, so then you take less off, or you match as close to the sides. You can probably leave it a bit hanging over, but you match it up to the sides. Because when you want to change your hairstyle around, or you're looking at ideas like if you look at EL's, he shaves like his side bit and that's it.
That's it.
The rest of it is kind of hanging over.
Yes.
Do you get what I mean?
I do get what you mean.
And his neck's got flicks and everything.
I think that's what I'm kind of after longer term, and I think maybe I might have to almost, go shorter. Would it be? Yeah, it would, I suppose.
I think you're going to end up with quite a big restyle today. Yeah. If you go down that route. I just want to make sure you're okay with that.
I think so.
Right now, I can't think of anything else that will blend in with what you need, because we need to get them curls forming back. We need to blend the taper in as well. Yeah. And you're liking what you've got at the front. So there's going to be a compromise with anything, right? Whether it's overall length, whether it's back and sides length, and we what you want to do with curls, you want to try and not disconnect them too much, okay? Because the curls need themselves to form and build that shape. If you have too much of a disconnection with curls, I've noticed that the curl ends up becoming a little bit like, best way to describe it, a bit ski-whiff, right? You end up with a really wild curl here and a curl here, because there's too many isolated different sections where one's a bit longer, one's a bit shorter, one's a bit longer, one's a bit shorter. And it looks good in the interim, but I don't cut hair to look good for a week. Yes. Especially with longer hair. Cut hair to look good for as long as it possibly can. Do you get what I mean?
Completely.
So I don't know, would you be up for going shorter? Like, would you be up for going to maybe something along the lines of ER's length? Would you, obviously, it's probably about that on the sides now, I reckon, maybe?
I think so, yeah. I think so. Because I'm trying to think of I haven't really got, longer term, I haven't really got any other option unless I want to keep a taper. And I don't, with regard to exactly what you just said with curly hair, whether that's probably not the right thing to, I'm not a fan of a taper with.
Again, like I say, they look amazing when they're done. They just grow out so fast. Because they're not, to me, like, I'm a bit old school with my type of haircut, right? I would probably say now compared to some of the guys I see online, right? I look at things that have got like a balance and a structure and not just what look good on a photo, right? Because the problem we live in at the moment, we live in a world which is all about looking good for Instagram. And a taper looks amazing for Instagram. You get lots of likes, you get lots of follows, you get lots of content, kind of lots of interaction. The problem is, with day-to-day life, it's an upheaval haircut. You have to do it regularly, right? And it grows out very, very fast. Then what ends up happening? The curls don't have the foundation. They don't have the support underneath. The curls drop out. So that's why that's looking good. I reckon there's probably a bit else going on, but that's probably looking really good there because it's all completely balanced in with itself.
Yeah.
The rest of it is hanging over, and then you've got weight at the top that's flattening it down. There's nothing. If that was long, that would probably still sit with a nice ringlet. Do you get what I mean?
Yes, I do completely get what you mean.
But again, I do love tapers. I think they're not always a practical haircut. And I'm more about practicality, I think. I think most people are, if I think. Like, lifestyle realistically, for someone who is an influencer and a celebrity, is a very different lifestyle to me and you walking around the street. Do you get what I mean?
I get what you mean.
So he might have more time, he probably gets a style for the TV, all these different things, right? But his bone structure and everything else, he is a model too. So there's loads of things that work in his favour to have that squareness, because having the square shape emphasises a sharp jawline. You see, having a rounder shape is more for softer features. It softens the features. So if you could do both, you know what I mean? You could get away with both. Because at the moment you've got that.
Yes.
You know what I mean? That's what you've kind of got now. Yeah. A taper in there and stuff like that. Obviously that's a fresh one, but you get what I mean? That's the kind of thing you've got now. Just looking for some inspiration, because I could go ahead and just cut it and just, you have got the option too of just like making it look kind of better than it does now, if that makes sense. Just trying to take it away from it being so obviously tapered. Yeah. You could always do that as well. So it's a bit like an interim hairstyle. That could work quite well.
Yeah, I think do that. I think that's.
I can't really find anything there's nothing really on there that is like grown out from something. I think the only thing we can do is like look at other videos and pictures of other people that have had the same issue. So
it's more about, for me than anything, getting it into a shape for it to grow well out, like you just said here, for this to kind of, that's what I'd say. And I think you hit the nail on the head there.
I think you want to just cut it into a quite as uniform length as possible, meaning it's kind of the same length all over.
Yes.
And that way you then have the ability to get to, 3 months, 4 months, 5 months and be like, I'm going for a change.
Yeah.
That's probably your best bet.
Cut well in, I think definitely. I like that, yeah.
All right, man. Yeah. Well, let's give this a shampoo and condition, mate, and then we'll go from there.
Perfect.
All right, man. Right, guys, so Ollie's hair's been shampooed and conditioned. Now, what we're going to do is, again, like obviously from the consultation, going to try and maintain kind of as much length as we possibly can in Ollie's hair. I think that's the reality. That's the goal, right? Because if Ollie does want to change it round, he's got to grow that taper out, right? Even if it's just for another couple of months, he's got to grow it out because it's going to be very hard. It's like you're compromising something because of one other thing, right? So what we need to do is try and take out that taper as best as we can. Obviously, I can't put more hair on, but I can definitely try and disguise it. So that's the goal today, really. Now, what we're going to do, because we've only seen quite a lot of length, we need to leave a disconnection there, but not a disconnection to the point where it's like one long length on the top, shorts on the sides. This is going to be kind of graduated in. So it's going to look very uniform. It's going to be cut in a uniform way, but there's going to be a disconnection throughout the back and sides. Okay? So there's our taper. There, right. Now you'd think that's long enough for the majority of people, but for what Ollie's trying to achieve, that's not long enough, right? So what I'm going to do is going to take a section, the whole sides, I'm going to bring it all into the middle, like so, and I'm going to cut a length that I can see commonly coming through my fingers. There isn't one. So I have to pick a length, right? So I'm going to visually look at where we're playing with it. So there's the taper here. Don't want to go that short, go a bit longer than that. So when that comes through my fingers there, that's how much I'm going to take off. Right? So there's my initial guide, cut in. Got a good amount of tension on this. I want this to spring back. Right. So that leaves bits longer, and shorter. So you've got a bit that is kind of blending into the undercut, so what the taper is, but then 2 bits either side that's still a lot long. But because of the way we've cut it and we've brought everything into the middle, we've got a graduation. So even though there's a disconnection, there's a graduation. That makes sense, does it? But you'll see it when it happens, okay? Take a slightly thinner section. And there we go, there's that little bit down the bottom there. Pull this in, I'm going to use that as my guide. But I've got to remember, you've got to pull it to the middle, okay? So that's going to start balancing to the taper, because I'm pretty sure the taper on the neck was the same length as the taper on the sides. So yeah, it's a lot shorter, but it doesn't really look a lot shorter. It's not as short as he has.
Not at all, no.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, massively.
It's probably about a third shorter, right? But by doing that, we're still maintaining a good amount of length. If I had to match that up to the taper, you'd have lost that much more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's kind of as much as I can leave. And don't forget, that will shrink in. The rest will all shrink in when it's all layered in as well. So it won't look as obvious. It won't look that drastic, okay? So is this a new thing? Is it in the longer hair, mate? Or is this something you've been doing for a while?
I've always had skin fades, tapers, mainly skin fades, really.
Oh, okay.
I never really knew I had curly hair, to be honest, or that kind of, So like I say, people from school see me now and they're like, "Oh, you've had a perm." I'm not had anything. Or not just people from school, but anyone. I kind of just kept it really short, and then when we was in lockdown, obviously it just grew, and I was like, this has got a bit of texture, a bit of something about it, and from there I just thought, and then eventually I kind of thought that's where I got it to this point, really.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, that's amazing.
Well, I kind of skin fade and then kept it textured on top and longer on top, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
But now I've just thought, you just grow out of that bit. I
think it's quite funny though, because like when you've had skin fades for so long, I always find that clients who have always had skin fades, it's like when they grow their hair longer, it's like they still need to have skin showing somewhere. So that's why tapers.
That's the taper,
That's the taper, right? Yeah. Which, if you're in your 20s, early 20s, how old are you, Ollie?
I'm 23 now.
23. So all you've ever probably had is skin fades from what you can remember sort of as a teenager and growing up, right? That's all you've probably had, right? Mm-hmm. So moving away from that can be quite scary. So again, you'll have a taper, which is skin, so it still has that same familiarity and everything else. It's this point now is the hard bit. It's going from getting away from the skin fade or the skin taper, right? But again, I think you've just hit it kind of at the right moment. Really, is that you've now embraced your texture. Mm-hmm. You're letting it do its own thing, and you're getting a nice sort of shape cut into it. So then that way, it will grow out nicely, and then you can sort of see where you want to go from there. Really,
Yeah, and that's the thing as well with kind of skin fades, and you never really get any kind of shape. Other than, do you know what I mean? You don't really get much shape into it as such. There's no real. Does that make sense? I mean, you do, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, no, definitely. Yeah, I mean, well, the thing is, it's very hard when you get rid of most of it. Do you know what I mean? It's hard to get a lot of shape into a haircut when you're getting rid of 2/3 of the whole hair on the head. So styles obviously come and go, right? But the way you cut the hair, the way you cut the styles in, it kind of stays the same, right? You just add a few new little techniques in there to kind of make these haircuts work a little bit differently or a little bit better. Usually sponge off other people, like learn, keep taking it in. But again, the styles that we're doing on the top, we're just incorporating new looks into the back and side. So for example, now you're just incorporating a new look into your top because you've probably had curls on the top for ages.
Yeah.
It's just now you're incorporating something else. So if you try and look at it that way, it won't seem like such a surprise of a new hairstyle. You're just incorporating a slightly different look or a different length into your already sort of like curly haired top, if that makes sense. Obviously, if you threw a base fade into this, it would look the same on the top.
Yeah.
It's just the sides and the back are gone, aren't they? If you can, you've got this far, embrace what you've got. Embrace that texture, you know what I mean? You know, you're already...
I think that was my thought process, really,
yeah,
in a way.
Yeah, just try and embrace as much as you can. Yeah, I think it's definitely worth it, because I think you'll find that it's you're going to get so many compliments. When this is actually properly cut in, you'll get some wicked compliments, mate. Bring this out and build that connection point up to the sides. So hopefully, as we get to the middle, we're not really losing, or sorry, the front, we're not losing an awful lot. I'm going to work across into the back, so I want this to be completely level. I'm not looking to build a square corner on this top bit. I want to build a slightly rounder finish. So I'm not leaving a corner in this. As you can see, there's always a corner when you do palm to palm. I'm just going to kind of take that out slightly.
If you don't mind me interrupting, Dan.
Of course.
You know, you're like saying about like irritation on the scalp and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know if, I mean, I've had like trouble with mold and things like living. I don't know if that's had an effect on me potentially with, like you're saying about breakage as well. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, that might just be I'm receding a little bit. I don't know, but.
No, it can just be anything. It can be
I think I have had trouble in the past with it, and that kind of, I don't know, that it might not be that, but I have had trouble with like irritation at times.
Yeah, I think that's just down to, I would say, looking at the little red blotches on the scalp. I think that's usually down to when you haven't washed it a lot, right?
Okay.
So again, when we're talking once a week, that's usually okay, right? Yeah. Usually okay. If you're doing it twice in the shower, then you condition it, and then you're obviously looking after it, wetting it down the week, things like that. You probably just need to have a good scalp detox. So just give it a proper good scrub. Maybe get yourself a scalp scrub as well, and just give it a proper good scrub. See if that helps. But yeah, I mean, living conditions can make a big deal as well. You know what I mean? Like you said, if you get a bit of mold in the bathroom and stuff, I don't think that can be good for anything, really, can it?
It is something that has been, I wouldn't say a major issue, but I suppose because my hair's pretty thick as well, kind of when you are washing it, it is making sure you wash it, like you say, with a scrubber, and it's properly.
You've got to do it twice in that one go though. So if you're only washing your hair once every 2 weeks, if you're only washing it once, most of that is being repelled.
Okay.
Because there's water in the product, you see, so the oil's repelling the water. So you're not going to get that kind of like, you're only kind of breaking down about 10% of what's already in there. So once you do that one time, break it all down, then do your second shampoo. That's when you feel like your hair's clean. So what's the style like amongst your friends? Like what haircuts has everyone got?
I don't know really. I feel like it's a bit of a mix. The thing is, I don't think a lot of my hair. I feel like it's quite unique, really.
They say it's the hair sent from the gods. Hair from the gods, curly hair.
I can't complain. No, I definitely do. Compared to how I had it used to, I never really. I don't know. It never really felt like, say, when I was younger. I'd never. I don't know. I can't think of the phrase, but didn't really get much out of it. Almost, if that makes sense. It was always thick. It's always been thick, but.
Oh, that's a good start. What does your like your mum or like the women in your life, like your sisters or aunties, and that are they loving it or?
It's funny. My grandparents aren't a massive fan of my long hair, which is...
They're not?
No, they're not.
Really?
My mum probably, I think she likes it. I don't know, really. I don't know what she prefers. I never really... I normally show her and she's like, oh, that's not... She likes it, do you know what I mean? It's been cut, so it's kind of... She don't really give an opinion, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Is she also not overly enthusiastic as well, or is she quite enthusiastic about you trying new styles and things like that?
I think she wanted me to get it cut how it was, let's put it that way.
Yeah. At least you're not getting grief. You know what I mean? That's nothing worse than that. Getting grief off people because you don't like your hair. It's like, it just stops you from doing what.
I have had, to be fair, for a while, people were saying, oh, when you're getting it cut, because obviously it's just kind of grown out from...
Yeah.
A lot of my mates have been saying that, but yeah.
When you get that pressure in it, it's
exactly.
Like,
it's part of the process, really. I mean,
it is, yeah. 100% it is. Tell them it's all part of the process, mate. Rome wasn't built in a day.
No.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. I could go on, mate. All right. There you go. So that fringe will stay exactly the way it was like when you walked in, okay? So we're bringing that in from the crown, and we're using that as our guide to work through into the top. So we've already connected some of the sides in. Now we're just making sure it connects to the middle. So we're going for that slightly more rounded finish still.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going for the squareness. There we go.
was going to say, I'm not opposed to necessarily a little bit of length off. Whatever you kind of...
Well, you should have a little point here that we want to take away. Just a little. It's quite dry anyway, to be honest, mate. The ends are quite dry, so you do want to take that away.
Take that, yeah.
Just everything matches, okay? Now, I'm going to just add a bit of texture into this now as well. Just a little bit to break them up. Just being really sporadic and just picking it up. Just literally sliding through like I would do with a scissor. Right. So let's sort them side bends out now, okay? This will hopefully look as though the taper's not there as much anymore now. We're just doing the side bends. A little bit of serum as well, okay? Just to bring out take away the frizz and the dryness in the ends, all right? Right, how would you like to let this dry? Do you want this to dry naturally or do you want me to diffuse it?
I'm happy to let it dry naturally.
Let it air dry, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. Just take loads of bits, just take some nice chunks and just let them, spin them around your finger. I don't know if you're just sitting there chilling out doing nothing after you've shampooed your hair. Just spend time just doing this, just run your fingers through your hair like that.
Tell you what, you ask my dad, he'll tell you I do that enough anyway.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, terrible. Well, honestly, if I'm sat thinking about something, I'm just sat there doing that.
Sat there doing it, yeah. So what we'll do, let that dry and let that just form in, okay? So let that do its own thing. Because in that way you'll notice it when it dries and you'll get that nice curl and that nice movement, all right? But can you see the shape?
Yeah,
is
that looks really good.
It's a much nicer shape now, isn't it? It looks a bit more balanced. Even though we haven't took a lot off that front, it looks a lot more balanced, doesn't it? It doesn't look as short, or sorry, as uneven as what it was. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah,
just from that taper. Yeah. So again, we'll just let that dry, let that do its thing, and then you'll notice yourself that'll dry in a really lovely round, fuller shape. Yeah. Okay. So there's the length. So it just looks a little bit better now. So I've kind of hidden the taper underneath a little bit as well. Yeah. All right. That's essentially the cut growing out.
Yeah, that's perfect.
And then let that dry in, and then go from there. All right, man?